Well, the government will be cracking down on charities that use resources to encourage illegal activities under tough new laws. In a move to step up the war against anarchists, charities whose members are caught in illegal blockades or trespassing will be stripped of their registration. Here's Minister for Charities Zed Seselja with the details.
We're obviously looking to make sure that charities can raise funds more easily. So what we're going to do is have states and territories, they've all signed up to effectively recognising each other's laws and making sure that if you sign up in one state or territory, you don't have to go through the rigmarole in other states and territories. And this is something that has been called for by the charity sector for many, many years, in fact, for decades. So really important reform that's, I think, being very welcomed and will save charities money so that they can do what they do best, which is help vulnerable Australians.
We're also going to target unlawful charities. And I know I've spoken to Anne Ruston about this issue. She's been very passionate about it. How will you go about that?
The vast bulk of charities who are helping with the red tape reforms do the right thing. There are a small minority who I would classify as activist charities, and there's nothing in itself wrong with being an activist charity, but there is if you breach the law and if you do that regularly. And so what we're going to do is we're going to change the rules so that those charities who engage in unlawful behaviour, things like trespass, things like malicious damage, threats to people, will have their charitable status put at risk, because what I don't believe is that charitable resources should be used for law breaking, and that all of the tax concessions that charities receive, they should be about, helping Australians. And, if St Vincent de Paul or Salvation Army or others get those tax concessions, I think most Australians are very, very pleased with that. But when there are charities who go about breaking the law or encouraging their supporters to break the law, well, it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to do that now.
This is terrific legislation. Over 3,000 charities will no longer need to produce reviewed financial statements, saving each charity around $2,400 in accounting expenses annually. That's welcome relief, isn't it?
So you can see how when we focus on cutting red tape for charities, charities who do the right thing, we are all about making their jobs easier. And on the other hand, as I've mentioned, those who consistently break the law won't have it as easy. But when it comes to lowering that red tape burden, if you talk to the charity sector, this has been their number one priority. It is the myriad of state and territory rules and regulations. It does hold them back. And the last thing we want is regulations holding charities back or businesses back from doing what they do. So it's part of a broader deregulation agenda, and I've got to pay tribute to the Treasurer, Josh Frydenberg, and to the Prime Minister, because the Prime Minister has set up, through the National Cabinet and then through the Treasurers and Finance Ministers, a really streamlined way of getting things done with the states and territories. And this charitable reform is one really important way of doing that, but we want to do that in a whole range of other areas of business.
As Assistant Minister for Finance, I'm going to ask you about China and our trade relationship. Simon Birmingham, Trade Minister, earlier today, indicating that he will be going to the World Trade Organisation, trying to establish what's going on with China after the most recent decision around coal. Are you concerned at this imbroglio, at this obviously a major drama now with China, and how do we sort of diversify away from China to ensure that we don't have situations like this again?
There's a couple of points there. One is obviously we are concerned. We are concerned when Australian products are blocked, as we've seen with a number of products, including most recently issues around coal. And I would say that when that occurs, and of course the Trade Minister is taking action through the WTO and will raise these diplomatically and in multilateral forums, when those actions are taken, yes, they do in the short term hurt Australian exporters. They also, I think, will hurt the Chinese economy, because certainly we deliver high quality products, whether it's coal, whether it's iron ore, whether it's our wonderful agricultural products, which Chinese consumers enjoy. The Chinese people will suffer from not having those products and paying more for, in many cases, inferior products. Going forward, I think absolutely we know that diversifying our export markets is important. We've been working on a range of free trade arrangements, whether that's That's the work we're doing with India and Indonesia, with Vietnam. So there are obviously many opportunities for our exporters, but at the same time, China will continue to be a very, very important market for us, and it's important that the Chinese government plays by the rules.